This week on GenderqueerChat, how did we come to identify as genderqueer, and how do we blow off steam? I brought the questions forward this week, and I thought I'd kind of keep it light. How do I blow off steam? I love to go swimming, golfing, bicycling, go beat the punching bag, get out and go geocaching, exploring, insane humor that makes no sense in random contexts. I like to just get out and be spontaneous, and I usually make it up more or less as I go along. I'm not really into clubbing. The respiratory distress of being in a smoke-filled, contained space is not quite to my liking, and really screws up my sleep schedule, a million things. Plus, I'm just a little too old for the club. But I get out and I do stuff. Came home from work just going, ugh. And so I made some Marmite toast and had some yummy, delicious tea. Those are just kind of a sampling of some of my have a good time items. Now, how did I come to identify as genderqueer? Well, long before I ever heard the word. It may not have even been a word when I was a kid. You know how bright kids are, at least, and probably just about all kids. There's this, imagination thing where you just put yourself in different scenarios. No brace today. I'm trying. I'm giving it a shot for a couple hours, see how it works. But so, when you're a little kid, you imagine yourself being a fireman, playing house, flying to the moon, whatever. And you see yourself as someone, some sort of idealized figure. You might see yourself as an adult or a little kid or whatever. Well, did you see yourself as a man, a woman, a boy, a girl, a Wookiee, whatever? I saw myself as this, and it varied quite considerably, as this kind of gender nondescript kind of entity. I mean, sometimes I was a guy and a girl. Sometimes I was one or the other. I was occasionally some sort of other species entirely that was, just kind of asexual by the standards that we think about gender. And this really kind of threw me off my game, because I felt like there was something, kind of, I don't know how to put it. I didn't feel wrong, but I felt kind of wrong from the outside. I kind of felt this quiet subliminal pressure to not feel the way I felt and not imagine myself the way I imagined myself. And then as I grew older, I would read comic books, and like Alpha Flight, really great comic about basically this, easiest way to put it is kind of a Canadian team of superheroes. And there were these twins who had kind of very similar powers, and they even had kind of mirrored matching outfits and everything. And I was really into that couple, but I couldn't really identify with just one or the other. I sort of identified with them both, and the word queer was a little bit slow for me to come to, because back in the 80s, queer was this really derogatory term, and there were these pockets of people out here kind of owning the term, and I was resistant to the idea. Something about, owning that term seemed kind of repugnant to me. It seemed as repugnant to me as it seems completely natural to me now. And when I first started hearing of genderqueer people after the term began to come into vogue in some little circles here and there, I wasn't quite sure how to make it, make sense in my head, because it's a really special kind of term, and different people play with it and flesh it out in different ways. But eventually I kind of found that something resonated with me. And so there was this kind of slow, organic process, and it was in part after I came out as trans, or began to come out as trans to myself, that I sort of found the freedom within myself, or I allowed myself the freedom to finally climb out of the box and say, okay, well, who the devil and what the devil am I? And so I finally started referring to myself as genderqueer for the first time, probably back in early 2010. Because before then, I was really uptight and kind of overly aggressively enforced the gender binary, partially out of just ignorance and confusion, and partially as sort of a defense mechanism. So that's my story. That is how I came to feel that the term genderqueer really fit me. And I could go into a lot of detail, but we'll save some of that for some other occasions. There were certain individuals, some of them YouTubers and some of them authors and some of them just people, who made an impression on me and inspired me. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it until I change it. We will see you soon. You know the drill. Give me some comments, give me some thumbs up, show me some love. And happy to be here. Just ecstatic. So happy Thursday.